Good evening, this is the Oscar expert here, and it's time to take a look at the Cannes 2023 lineup. I'm going to Cannes again this year, fellas. So this has personal stakes for me, and I've done my research. I've done my research on what people think is going more than ever this year, so I think I have a decent idea of what I'm supposed to expect, and then I'll be able to tell you, truly what the surprises are. And we're gonna open some of these in Letterboxd so we can see, who these directors are in competition. Club Zero, this is expected. It's got Mia Wasikowska. I guess that means it's in English. It's from this director. Highest rated movie, 3.6. The Zone of Interest, Jonathan Glazer. This is a big one, fellas. He doesn't make a lot of movies, and his last movie was Under the Skin. The plotline here, a Nazi officer stationed at Auschwitz becomes enamored with the camp commandant's wife. That doesn't sound good, but I think that this is going to take a much different approach from the book. I've heard it's a loose adaptation, and that Jonathan Glazer really experimented with different perspectives and shot, I guess, a lot of different ways that you could piece together this story in the editing room, and I guess he is done, and he figured out what he wants to do with it. But that's definitely going to be a hot ticket. Fallen Leaves, Aki Kaurismäki. We expected this one too. This director has done many movies over many decades. I've never seen anything by him, but it seems like he's really just operating in his own lane. Many of his films are highly acclaimed, and he seems to be pretty consistent. He's known for this weird deadpan style. Four Daughters. This director did The Man Who Sold His Skin. I heard a little bit about this one. Inspired by the larger-than-life character of a mother who lost two teenage daughters to radicalization after they ran away to Libya to join ISIS. Quite a subject. Asteroid City, Wes Anderson. You don't even need me to explain this. You know what this is. I know what this is. And we all knew that it was going to be in competition. Liked the trailer for this one. I guess some people, for some reason, didn't really like it. I'm not a diehard Wes Anderson fan, but I usually enjoy his movies. And I thought this one looked fun. I don't know if other people were expecting it to be like, a major step up, like the most grand thing that he's ever produced. Maybe that's why some people were like, oh, this just looks like another Wes Anderson movie. And it's like, isn't that like what you like? Isn't that what you like? Anatomy of a Fall from Justine Triet. Seems like a little bit of a murder mystery thing going on here. I do not know much about this director, but here's a movie that she did, and here's one, and here's one, and here's one. Monster from Koreeda. A lot of people were expecting this to be here. He's kind of a regular at Cannes. This is the director of Broker, Shoplifters, among many other critically acclaimed films. Very curious about this one. Monster also dropped their trailer alongside this announcement, and it looks pretty good. The new Nanni Moretti film. I gotta say, his movie Tre Piani was at Cannes last time, and I wasn't that into it. A lot of people weren't that into it, and although this director seems like, he's been working for a long time, he's made a lot of movies, some of them people care about a decent bit, like, this is pretty good. I'll just say that Tre Piani did not make me want to see his other work very badly, like at all. And the style wasn't doing anything for me, really. It wasn't like, oh, this movie was kind of a misfire, but the director has an interesting style. Like, it wasn't like that for me. But who knows, maybe this one will be better. La Chimera from Alice Rohrwacher, another expected one. Highly anticipated. Hate to admit that I haven't seen one of her movies except for Le Pupille, which I'm like not even counting. I didn't really like it that much anyway. But this director did Happy as Lazzaro, which was one of the most acclaimed films of 2018, some would say. Isabella Rossellini, Josh O'Connor. It's about a British archaeologist who gets involved in an international network of stolen artifacts. I guess it's in English this time, even though this is an Italian filmmaker. Definitely anticipating this just based off of like the director's clout. Last Summer from Catherine Breillat. Seems like there's an affair going on here. These posters seem interesting. I mean, don't really know what this director's deal is. That's probably the case for like half of them. The Passion of Dodin Buffon. Seems like it's about a cook. Juliette Binoche is in it. I haven't seen one of these directors' films, but it seems like, he's frequently a pretty acclaimed guy. About Dry Grasses, Nuri Bilge Ceylan. This is one of my most anticipated. If you don't know this director, you gotta get on it. His last four movies have all had above a 4 on Letterboxd, and the only, the two I've seen are Once Upon a Time in Anatolia and Winter Sleep. Both are really good. I would love for him to have a Drive My Car type of moment if we could possibly envision something like that. I would also just love to see, at the minimum, him actually get into the international film conversation this year. Very excited for that one. That was also one of the locks basically going in. May, December, Todd Haynes, oh shit. The director of Carol, I'm Not There, Far From Heaven. Recently, Dark Waters and Wonderstruck, but this one seems like a major work for him. I mean, it's got Natalie Portman, Julianne Moore, and Charles Melton. It's about an actress played by Natalie Portman who's learning how to play Julianne Moore, who I think is a former actress who has a relationship with Charles Melton that was formerly controversial due to the age gap of these two. Seems like a juicy drama. You know, when Todd Haynes, when he whips out those, you know, Oscar-winning, Oscar-nominated actresses, you get some gold. You get some gold. Rapito from Marco Bellocchio. Another director who I don't really know much about, but look at this. He's been directing stuff since the 60s. Since the 60s. So this is a real veteran. And it looks like he's a consistent veteran at that. But this seems interesting. I think this will probably be pretty buzzed about. Firebrand in competition? Interesting. Okay, hold up, because my first reaction to this was like, oh, this is just like a period corsage-esque costume drama that I don't really need. But I did find that the director actually has some interesting stuff up his sleeve, so maybe this won't just be like a boring period thing. This is a very acclaimed movie. Okay, this might be good. This might be good. Wow, okay. Look at that. All right, so I guess I'm excited for this movie, and I didn't know I was going to be. I mean, I should be excited because look who's in it. Alicia Vikander and Jude Law follows Queen Catherine Parr and Henry VIII's marriage. It's also a psychological horror. I guess I actually am pretty pumped about this movie now. You know, forgive me if I thought that this was just going to be a boring period thing. Speaking of those kind of movies, like that movie Jean du Barry that Maïwenn is directing with Johnny Depp, which is going to be in the lineup somewhere. You know, the trailer just looks boring to me. Like, I just don't care. It was hard for me to pay attention for the whole trailer. The Old Oak, Ken Loach, that's expected. This guy gets a designated slot every single year. Known for Kess from the 60s. Recently, he's done Sorry We Missed You and I, Daniel Blake. I, Daniel Blake won the Palm, but both the movies, you know, it seems like he's been on game. I don't know what this one is. Okay, this person directed one movie. No, this is a short film. Interesting. Young adults Banel and Adama live in a small remote village in northern Senegal. The couple will be put to the test by the conventions of the community because where they live there is no place for passions, even less for chaos. So this is interesting, and it looks like it might be this director's like debut. You know, your debut film going to Cannes. That's pretty big. Perfect Days from Wim Wenders. Wait, what? Huh? Am I supposed to know about this? Why is there no information on this movie other than whatever the fuck language Wikipedia this is? Okay, so IMDb doesn't know this exists. Somebody help me. This is saying that Wim Wenders is also screening his latest nonfiction film. So I guess this is not a nonfiction film, and the documentary is in 3D. All right, so I got some information on the Wim Wenders movie. Wim Wenders was inspired by public bathrooms in Tokyo with this new citywide project, apparently, that implements like 17 new bathrooms that have really cool architecture, and his movie apparently takes place in one of these public restrooms. Something about these spaces inspired him. I have no idea what to expect. By the way, Wim Wenders, most known for Wings of Desire and Paris, Texas. Both really good movies. Don't know this movie either. This filmmaker has a movie at Cannes. It looks like this is actually a documentary in competition. Oh, wow. Oh, shit, what? Oh, this is 500 minutes long. Okay. This is 220 minutes long. This is 495 minutes long. This is 840 minutes long. 153 minutes. All right, keeping it trim. I don't know how long this new one is, but this seems like an acclaimed ass filmmaker, and that is the competition slate. So we didn't see Poor Things, which I thought might have had a shot. And I also thought The Holdovers had a shot because there were some rumors about how that movie might be premiering there. But you know what? It almost seemed for a second like there would be too many Oscar contenders at Cannes if you had Poor Things and The Holdovers and May December and Flower Moon. And you know, it almost always happens that like people expect more big American movies to go, and then there aren't actually as many as people think there are going to be. But let's see what's out of competition. Killers of the Flower Moon, which we knew was going. Jean du Barry, which is, you know, I already talked about how the trailer looked kind of boring to that, and, you know, we'll see if I even watch that. It is opening the festival. The Idol, that's a show from Sam Levinson. I don't know if I'm going to bother seeing the TV show. Cobweb from Kim Ji-woon, and Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. We knew that was going. That's going to be like their big blockbuster screening. They always do one. It's not like, what? That movie's going to Cannes? Like, they premiere one of the Fast and Furious movies, so it doesn't even mean that it's like amazing necessarily. But this movie, Cobweb, I thought could show up in competition. This director is very well known. You have this movie, you have this movie, you have this movie. So that one I'm looking forward to. Midnight screenings, I don't know any of those. Not gonna go through every single movie at this point. In the premiere section, I don't know. Oh, this one. This one I thought I was gonna see in competition. So this director has done like 3 movies. This movie he did in the 70s. People think it's great. This movie he did in the 80s. People think it's great. This is a documentary he did in the 90s. People think it's great. That's it. He hasn't done a movie since then. So this is like, you know, for people who are into his older movies, like this is a big event. I don't really know or care what it means that something's like is or isn't in competition. I don't really think there's like a ton of meaning to that. I mean, every year at Cannes, some of the best movies are not in competition. Special screenings. This is the Wim Wenders documentary. Excuse me? Excuse me? Occupied City, director Steve McQueen. What is this? Steve McQueen documentary based on his wife's illustrated history book, Atlas of an Occupied City, Amsterdam, 1940 to 1945. McQueen will explore the period in which Amsterdam was under Nazi occupation. I think this is highly interesting because Steve McQueen's movie that is coming out either at the end of this year or next year, called Blitz, is about the German bombing campaign against the United Kingdom during the Second World War. So it seems like, you know, him and I guess his wife are having some sort of hyperfixation on World War II right now. And Man in Black from Wong Bing, again, with this director. This sounds like a documentary too. So he has 2 documentaries there, and one of them's in competition and one of them's not. Uncertain Regard. This is like the kind of official like tier below the competition titles. Let's see if I recognize any of these off the bat. The New Boy from Warwick Thornton. That's interesting because I thought maybe that would show up somewhere. This movie actually has Cate Blanchett in a small role, which I think she is playing the renegade nun. It's about a 9-year-old Aboriginal orphan boy in 1940s Australia. The director is an Aboriginal Australian guy, and he directs movies that are about Australian Aboriginal people, and he's been doing it for a while, and many of his films are very acclaimed so far. So this is a movie I'm kind of anticipating this year. We still don't have the lineups for the Director's Fortnight and the Semana de Critique lineups, which is, I guess, technically like a festival that runs simultaneously and in the same place as Cannes. Me as press and many people will see all those movies. Last year, After Sun was in the Critics Week lineup, and the Director's Fortnight included The Five Devils, Ennie's Men, Funny Pages, One Fine Morning was one of the big ones, and God's Creatures. They usually add a few Sundance titles too, so that will add on even more movies that I'll be excited to see. And as always, when I'm at the festival, I'm constantly checking like Letterboxd and the reviews to see what movies I should be catching. I'm not tied to a certain list of things that I need to see, but you know, there's still some research that I have to do, me personally, looking at some of these out of competition and premiere special screenings, and I'm sure there'll be some breakouts, as there always are. This lineup is pretty stacked. Like, yeah, there's no Miyazaki. We kind of knew that wasn't gonna happen. There's no like Poor Things. The Cannes Festival, you don't ever expect it to look like a Toronto or Venice. I'm really excited for May, December about Dry Grasses, The Zone of Interest. Killers of the Flower Moon's gonna be like a mega fucking event there. I'm now kind of excited for Firebrand. I have no idea what Wim Wenders is doing, but that seems cool. Coriata, the Alice Rohrwacher movie. A couple movies I'm hoping and praying that we could see in the Director's Fortnight or the Critics Week lineups. Rose Glass's new movie, Love Lies Bleeding, or perhaps Jane Schonbrun's new film, I Saw the TV Glow. I don't know if that one's looking ready, but people also really expected that maybe the new Kitty Green film, which is being produced by Neon, would show up out of competition or something at Cannes. I would have to think that if that movie was trying to like get into the Cannes lineup, that Critics Week is just like drooling, waiting to, you know, snag that for their lineup. Oh yeah, people also thought that The Bike Riders from Jeff Nichols was a possible title here. Another one we're probably going to be saving for Venice, I guess. The new Woody Allen movie did not get announced. There were heavy rumors that that could have happened too. And no Malick. You know, my thing with Malick is like, I don't believe that his movie exists until I have like concrete proof the year that it's supposed to come out. Otherwise, I will assume it is in post-production for yet another year, and that's what's been happening. There are movies that I'm personally excited about, and there are also a lot of films that, you know, when you look into them, they have like really big auteurs who are highly acclaimed, and I'm very excited to check out movies by all these people. And it seems like if you are a cinephile who pays attention to all these big international auteurs, you're jizzing your pants a little bit. People who are really into that kind of stuff seem really happy with this lineup. So I'm pretty excited. I'm anticipating a solid year. And I'll see you on the Croisette. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. What movies are you looking forward to me talking about at Cannes?